Hey guys, my name's BottleTopHornet and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft. We're starting off today in the Nether hub, which has changed a little bit but not too much. I decided to add this beacon on top of it because I've been preparing to set up this island in the middle of the lava lake over here with this basalt generator. So I have actually collected a decent supply of it. There's a little bit more left over. This is just a Razeworks design. If these guys will get out of the way. And I think, before anything else, we're just going to quickly build a little room around the side of this. So sometimes, right, you go into a large explanation. You start to explain what your plans are as far as an island is, and you go through the process of setting it all up and you explain how you're building it and everything like that. And then you realize a few hours later when you go to edit that you had your microphone on mute the whole time. Strange. Oh dear. So I'm actually deliberately not pointing my camera over towards where that island is, because I've actually already built it. Yeah. And all the footage that I had beforehand is just silence. Me just walking around, moving my camera as though I'm speaking, but there's no sound. So we're going to jump into the time-lapse that I did manage to record, because that doesn't need any any speaking over top of it. And then we can pop back in and have a proper look at the already completed island. So I'll be back with you in a moment. Enjoy the time lapse and see you soon. And now that I'm recording properly, here it is. It doesn't look like much just yet. The top of it obviously looks a bit weird. I missed. But the main point of it was this underneath section. So, got lots of little pokey pieces, like spikes that are sticking out of the bottom to create some texture. And one of the things that I discussed before building it, but we can discuss it post-build, is I accidentally built this platform inside of the lava and realized after placing half of it that just like over there at the Nether fortress, as you can just barely see, I'll fly up there, we're going to get an effect like this where the lava is actually no longer, like there's no longer source blocks. So at first I was really disappointed, but then I realized what I can do is actually change the shape of this from a square and make it closer to the shape of this island above. And when I remove everything, it's going to look like this has pulled itself up out of the lava. And then if I can use some potions of fire resistance, I can actually swim down and remove a fair few more source blocks and potentially make it look like there's a big, almost like lava fall, all of it flowing into the center where the main mass of this has disappeared from. And then if we pop up here, I tried to make it a size that was big enough that I could put a piglin trading hall on, but wasn't ridiculously large. So at the moment, I think it looks a bit weird with just that netherrack sitting on top of it, but that'll all get replaced with some blackstone and a little bit of texture leading up probably to about that height, so I can feather the sides down a little bit. And then, oh, this can disappear now, I don't need that. And then we can sort of create our trading hall sitting on top of this platform so that it's a nice building you can see from over at our nether hub. And then around the center should be straight up through a gap there, and we can poke a hole like it's that easy. We can try and make a large hole in the nether ceiling, in the bedrock itself, and drop them down on top of this building. So all of our gold collects in here, and basically we can AFK up on top of there, poke through the hole easily, come down here, all our gold's ready to go to craft up into ingots and trade away. Now, this entire island you would have hopefully seen in the time lapse is actually completely solid. And what I think I'll do is create underneath on the inside of here an automatic sorting system, much like what we did for our mob farm, but that can sort all of the trades that we get from our piglins. So the building on top will be to house them and to catch the gold basically coming in, but the actual storage itself for the large amount of items that they'll trade can be hidden inside the center of the island. So it's sort of like using the space as best I can, because I didn't want to just spend hours and hours and hours crafting a huge island, even though, I mean, this took me nearly 2 hours to build. So, but with that being said, I'm going to try and remove this, shape it a little bit more like the island, and see whether I can make it look okay as far as all of the lava flowing in towards the center. And then I think since I stuffed up the way I was recording, I might try and build the piglin trading hall before I actually pop the hole through the nether ceiling. That means that we can have the whole hall set up, ready to go, and in the next episode I can build my gold farm. So that's exciting. So I'll try this out and we'll see what it looks like. And let me tell you folks, sometimes I actually surprise myself with what I make. Like, especially in this series, I have started to really be proud of the things that I've created, and to turn the mistake that I had of placing those blocks under the level of the lava and ruining the source blocks, and to turn it into this. Oh my goodness. I think that looks so cool, and it actually has almost the exact effect that I was imagining after I had to try and come up with a solution. We'll just look at it from a couple of different angles. I obviously put the blackstone on top of here. It looks a bit plain right now because this is all half slabs, but I did my best. I thought it was all spawn proof. I don't know how he's on here. Maybe one of these doesn't have a button on it. But yeah, it's just, look at that. It actually does look like that was pulled up from the inside of the lava. We've got a little strider, I think, is completely stuck down at the bottom. He's obviously slid along the lava falls. But yeah, look at it. I think that's so cool. And then once we have like an interesting building, hopefully I can do it justice and have something kind of cool looking that matches the aesthetic we've already come up with here. I think this place is going to look awesome. And we're going to have to see whether or not having a gold farm up there and dropping the piglins all this distance, whether they like actually despawn before they hit the collection station. If that's the case, I'm going to have to build a collection area up there and maybe drop all the gold nuggets down here so we can have like it raining gold, perhaps. I'm not sure. Either that, or I'll just have my gold collection section. Gold collection section? That sounds cool. Sitting up at the ceiling itself, so we could have like a separate build almost hanging much the same way that this is. And then our trading hall just stays down here as is. So yeah, I'm going to grab some materials and I'm going to set up a perimeter, try and work out a size, and maybe go into a creative world and just do a little bit of trial and error, see what I can come up with that looks similar to that but fits and works as a more rectangular build. And then yeah, we'll get to building and see what we can come up with as far as the trading hall goes. I think one of the first things I want to do is just set up the perimeter and work out the positions that I will put my piglins that I want to trade with. And we're going to have to probably grab them from somewhere away from these bridges and lure them over onto this island because, you know, we're a far way away from everything. But I'll have to work out whether I want either 4 or maybe even 6, depending on the size of the area that I can create in here. And yeah, so I'll set up a perimeter, a little boundary, see what it looks like, and then once I've got the shape of it set up, I'll build myself a piglin trading hall. Then it's on to the difficult task and the long task of breaking a hole through the nether ceiling. Something like that. Honestly, it's bigger than I thought it would be. So it's got a 10 block span on this angle here, on this side, and then I think, hold on, it's 13 and 13 up to that block, which is 26, so it's 27 blocks long. So in reality, that's heaps. I can have all sorts of constructions inside of here, plenty of room for lots and lots of piglins. I might even be able to shorten it a couple of blocks so that it sits a little bit nicer on top of this island and doesn't... I mean, I can blend it in and make it hang over those edges, which could look cool, but I'll have to see how it feels when I come to actually building it itself. So I think the last thing I want to do before I come up with a design and build this up is just work out where I want the piglins to be. Now, I want a little bit of space off the back so that I can put some rails and a system to feed them the gold. But if I just say, if that's the center block there, if I just say like this, so 1 there, 1 there, and maybe 3 on either side. I mean, the more that we have in here, the faster that they're going to trade through the gold. So it just becomes a matter of, yeah, I might actually chuck a total of 8 so that we get a nice fast system as long as the hoppers can keep up. That'll be the main deciding factor. But with a bit of luck, I might actually be able to set up a block underneath them with a bit like what I did with the Basalt generator, where I have a hopper minecart and then push a block inside of it and sit them on top of that. That way the hopper minecart itself is actually picking up items super, super quick, and we can set up a system underneath where the items are evenly distributed and run through the system at a decent pace. So with that main layout sorted out and a basic idea of where I want to put everything, because I've already done a couple of little time lapses so far this episode, I'm just going to do a really quick one, pop this together, and we'll pop back in, see what it looks like. A rectangle. What was I thinking? A rectangle. Welcome back. There it is. But it's definitely not the shape that I came up with to begin with, because as I started building and I was thinking about how I wanted it to sort of match this, I was like, why? Why did I do a rectangle? So I've come up with a little bit of a design. It's very basic so far. I haven't added a lot of detail. I'm not exactly sure whether I like the fact that there's this style of wood. I might actually go grab more of the crimson stuff. And, you know, there's attempts at making detailed work on the side. There's more things that I do want to add. Maybe some of those twirly vines from the blue. I can't remember what they're called. But the blue version of the forest somewhere in the Nether. I don't know whether I've got one nearby. And I do want to try and get some campfires hidden so that smoke rises around this. But up above me, I've started to put together a little something, and I'm really not sure about it. I don't know whether I like it. It looks a little bit out of place and not quite what I want, but I think it's the white, really. I think it's the quartz that I put in that's throwing me off, so I might change that out for a different material to make it less contrasty. But if we fly up here, like so, you can see that I've worked out the place that I will be popping the hole through the nether roof. And this area here, just above this white line, is probably going to be where I put my chests that collect all the gold. So I'll have a bunch of hoppers just here as the killing platform for my gold farm, and then up here I'll have a bunch of chests set up so that they can collect the gold, and I'll probably use this as the crafting area for all of my gold ingots. Then I can just drop back down, float to the you can see all the buttons that I've placed on top. It looks a bit weird from up here, but I think once you're down at this level, it's not really anywhere near as noticeable. So yeah, I can make up my gold, drop down, and trade away, fill up shulker boxes or whatever I have to. So yeah, let me know what you think. There's definitely more detail that can be added, a bit like how this is continuing to grow and will continue to grow as we move along. But I like it. It's a little different. It's not so much a pod, it's more of a house of sorts. But I had to go with a circle. I couldn't do it as a rectangle. It just didn't quite seem right. So we've reduced the amount of spaces for piglins down to 6 again rather than 8, and created this here. I think I was thinking about potentially putting a beacon up through there as well, like a coloured black beacon or something, but that involves probably a later task of setting up a farm over there so we can get a bunch of wither skeleton skulls, because for now that is my only beacon. But that's for later. There's more pressing matters. So one of the things that I want to do now is get a bunch of stuff prepared to start my process of popping through the nether roof and breaking some bedrock. And I think what I'm going to do is just go through my process, show you guys my process that I use for breaking bedrock, but I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm going to do that off camera because it's likely going to take me many hours with the size of the hole that I anticipate I have to make. But let me grab some stuff and then we'll pop up in there and I'll show you, 1, how I get through to the nether roof, and then 2, how I break back down. And one of the things you always want to make sure when you're going on top of the nether ceiling is that you have the right amount of obsidian to make a nether portal if you get stuck up there. So we'll make sure that we've got the obsidian on us, and we do have a flint and steel in our ender chest, so that's a plus. I've collected a bunch of TNT because look, honestly, it might not even be enough for how much I'm going to do, but for now it's going to be plenty to show you guys my process. And all I need now, as far as I can remember, is just a handful of levers, and that should pretty much do me. Now the last thing I'll need is some ladders. So a couple of ladders, and yep, I have some ender pearls in my ender chest. Okay, let's grab those resources and maybe sleep. I really need to do something with this bedroom, but I'll get that done in an episode soon. And let's head back to the nether. And I'll just quickly show you guys, I've definitely made up some spare firework rockets to have in my ender chest, so that's no longer a problem. We're going to have to do something sometime soon to organize this and make it far more convenient and have all the things that I need in there. But for now, we're starting to build up spare tools, fireworks and such, so that's a plus. So let's head up to our little spot up here. I've set up one of these, I've found the spot, I should say, that is where I will be coming through. So I'll just use these scaffoldings to get up a bit higher, like so. Oh, I still don't know how scaffolding works. Let's try that again. How do I get up there? Okay, so that block there If I press my F3 and go to my debug menu, you can see over on the right hand side where it says targeted block, it's showing that that targeted block is 127 Y level. So negative 36, negative 52, but the 127 in the middle means that it's the final block layer of the nether ceiling. So if we just pop up, and I need some more blocks. If I grab a couple of these, like so. Okay, let's try this again. If we pop up here, and using the ladders and a ender pearl, I'd need to remember negative 136, negative 52. What you do is you just place a ladder right up to that block. Make sure you are full hunger so you don't hurt yourself. Right up to that block. Climb up as high as you can, and you just throw an ender pearl. Like that. Jump out of the block, and you're good to go. So now what I can do is mark that, and here we are, up on the nether ceiling. It's honestly as easy as that. So what we do now is move a little bit away from this, and we'll prepare ourselves with the things that we need to remove bedrock. So with these items in hand, I'll show you what you have to do. First things first, 2 pieces of obsidian like this. Not on top of the block that you want to get rid of, but diagonally across it. Then you put a piston facing towards yourself, or I suppose, yeah, towards yourself on top of the block that you want to remove. We place a trapdoor down like so, 2 pieces of TNT and a lever on there like that. And if you look at this, that should be the entire setup. Now, I think Ray's on YouTube actually came up with this design originally, him and his group on their technical server. But one of the main things that really helps, if I can display it here, is I actually have a auto click. Oh, I can remove the stuff off my screen. I have an auto clicker set up so that when I press a button on my mouse, it really quickly clicks. Now, you don't need that necessarily to do this. I've done it without it before, but it does make it far more likely to work. So what you need to do, have a piston in your hand. When we activate this, we open this trapdoor, and it'll allow us to get in beside and look at the top left-hand corner of this obsidian block. Once I do that, I need to be auto-clicking or clicking as fast as possible so that the instant these TNT break this piston, I place another one. Now, if all goes to plan, that should remove the piece of bedrock underneath here. So let's try it. Okay, let's see. There we go. Just like that, we have our first piece of the bedrock removed. Okay, so I'll do it a couple more times. I'll start to open up a bit of an area if I can, and I will need to remember that this this block here is actually the center, so I want to work around that so that my hole is actually symmetrical. The last thing I want personally is to not have it all set up nice and even, I suppose you'd say. So I'm going to set myself up a little station over here so that I can do this all nice and quickly. Remove these 2 blocks. And then we'll set it up once again like so. Piston like that. 2 pieces of TNT. Our block like that. Our lever like that. And then if all things go to plan, that should, it's removed a block again. So that's good. It's far more consistent when you're using an auto clicker that spams the click button. So makes it a lot more convenient and a lot easier to do. So let me just pop this probably 9 blocks here out, and then we'll see whether that works as efficiently as I hope it does. And I'll pop back in just a second. And so the process has begun. It took me a little bit, and it took me 46 pieces of TNT just to do those 9. And I have a couple of stacks left over, so I can get a fair bit done if it's that efficient. It definitely didn't happen every single time. There was a couple that took quite a few attempts to get to work, but you can see that we're slowly starting to break our way through. That being said, for me to comfortably get down to the very bottom layer of, you can see down there, it's quite a few blocks down. This little hole actually has to be quite large because I need to be able to fit the device that I'm using to break the bedrock inside on top of them. And I can do that a little bit by changing the position that everything's in, but at the end of the day, it does still require quite a bit of space. So you can sort of see where the light is hitting on the bedrock itself. That's kind of like essentially what the end result is going to be. It's going to be this huge upside down, almost beacon-sized hole just to get this centerpiece working. So with that being said, with us standing up on top of the nether ceiling, I think I'm going to end the episode here. I've got myself a bit of stuff sorted down in the bottom of the nether there. Our island is starting to come together, looking pretty cool. And I'm still not 100% set on this area, but over time we can improve that once we have our hole coming through the nether ceiling here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. And it's likely going to be around Christmas Day when this comes out. So if that's the case, I hope you guys are staying safe, but if possible, catching up with family and friends and all that fun stuff that happens in the holidays. So until next episode, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Again, I'll be down in the comments section chatting away with you guys, so you can tell me what you think of this little build here and the idea that I've got going up the top there. And in the next episode, we're going to build a gold farm, I think. I'm going to break that hole into the nether roof in between episodes, and then I'm going to come back in and we can start getting some big farms started. It'll be probably our biggest farm that we've done to date. The mob farm was half decent, but this is going to be something else. I think also I'm going to try and come up with my own design. I have built a couple of gold farms in the past, and I'm going to try and see if I can put it together without following a tutorial. So that should be fun. All in all, I'm pretty happy with how this is coming together. I hope you guys are too. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.